Thank you so much for, I think most of you attended the last meeting where you had an opportunity to share a lot of information with our superintendent. If you were here the last time, please raise your hand. All right. If this is your first time and you're a student attending, please raise your hand. Okay, we got a few newcomers. Well, I can tell you, your peers had a lot of information that they shared with our superintendent. And our superintendent, Dr. Morris J. Beasley, heard you loud and clear. And he assembled the leadership team and said, we got to respond to many of the statements that were made during the Student Advisory Council meeting. And I want to be able to share an update when we meet with them again. So we are here today. You're going to hear from Dr. Beasley. And then we have staff members that will provide updates to you about some of the things that we're working on in light of your concerns. So we thank you for your feedback, and we welcome more feedback from you today. And we hope that you are able to go back and share with your classmates about the exciting things that you're learning, being a part of the Superintendent's Advisory Council, and sharing with them what we can do to continue to make things better in our school district. So without further ado, I would like to welcome to the podium Dr. Morris J. Beasley, our Superintendent of Schools.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Well, I'll just say happy Thanksgiving to everybody. It smelled good in here. I thought, where's the turkey and dressing when I walked through the door? I am so pleased that you're here today, and we do apologize for a little delay, but we had a few buses that we were waiting on, and then I was trying to get from another meeting, so you all forgive us. We try to start on time because we know we've got to get you back to school on time to finish, of course, your day. But the last time we came together, you all gave us a lot of good feedback. I mean, a lot of good feedback. So much so that all of us have been working diligently to address that feedback. You say, what is the purpose of us being here today and sharing with the superintendent? Well, it really just gives you an opportunity to help us, to work with us to make our school district a better school system. I think it's very important that young people have positive experiences when they come to school, period. And why not engage them in the process of improving the school system in whatever way it needs to be improved, whether it be instructionally or whether the lunch needs to be improved or the bathroom experience needs to be improved or the feeling of safety and security needs to be improved. There are many ways that you provide feedback and action to help us improve our school system. And so today is our response, if you will, an opportunity for us to respond as to the concerns that you shared with us the last time you were here. Oddly enough, many of you shared, but the concerns were basically very consistent, and they allowed us to group the concerns together. And you may have said it a little differently, but it was really the same concern, whether it was the restrooms or lunch or safety and security. And so we've done some things since the last time we've met because of your feedback. And so we want you to know that we value your feedback. We appreciate who you are. We appreciate you being willing to come. I was at, I believe, Morrow Elementary School. Where's the new guy from Morrow Elementary School? There he is. Stand up, new guy. I can't remember. Tell me your name. Amir Lawrence. Y'all give Amir a great round of applause. Amir was, I think he was probably, were you new to the school, Amir? Or you heard about the superintendent's advisory, the other kids were returning or something like that, and you asked the principal, how could you be a part, right? And I think all the slots were taken, weren't they? And so we told him, well, we'll just add him. We have a few vacant seats in here. We'll just add Amir. So Amir, we're glad to have you. That's student leadership, isn't it? And I couldn't tell Amir no. It's like, no, you can't come. How does that sound? We got a bus that probably has 3 people on there coming over here to the school. We got empty seats. Thank you for being here, Amir. Welcome aboard. Welcome to the advisory. Well, we're so pleased to have you. Well, what I want to do is, because we want to be mindful of your time today, I want us to get some updates from staff members. And I know the area that came up consistently was lunch. We want better lunches, don't we? Yes, 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 yes. And so we thought we'd ask Ms. Audrey Hamilton, our Director of School Nutrition, to come and address the group. So let's give her a hand as she comes.
Thank you, Dr. Beasley. Good morning, students.
Good morning.
Take a deep breath. Do you smell that? Doesn't it smell good? Yeah. I know a couple of you walked and you went straight to the table. I said these students are hungry. They're ready to eat. Well, we brought some samples for you today, so you get a chance to taste school lunch. As Dr. Beasley said, my name is Audrey Hamilton. I am your school nutrition director. And Dr. Beasley invited us here because you guys said you wanted your food to taste good. And you don't know this, but we've already started in that direction. We hired a chef this past summer, and he has been working in the kitchen diligently to make your food taste good. So today we brought along some samples of some things that he has been working on in the kitchen that you can taste. Now I know that you all don't know, but we have a governing authority called USDA. And USDA regulate what happens in school nutrition programs across the country. And so they regulate certain things about our food. One of the things they say, we have to make sure that we are mindful of the sodium, which is salt, in our food. We have to make sure that our foods are whole grain. Our foods have to meet a certain nutrient value. And we have a certain amount of portions that we serve each grade level, elementary, middle, high, and as well as pre-K. So today we're here to let you showcase some of the new things that we've been working on to enhance our menus throughout the school district. So I brought a wonderful group of people with me today so that you can meet them, so you can see what we've been up to. And also we have a 4-minute video that we're going to show you some of the highlights of some of the things that we've been working on since the summer. So without further ado, I want to introduce the first person on our team, Chef James Jabbar. Chef Jabbar, please come on out and welcome us. Our nutrition coordinator, who is over our whole menus program, Ms. Ingrid Faradale, please come on out. We have our program specialist. This person's in charge of making sure that your meals meet USDA guidelines. Ms. Angela Owens, please come on out. This person is our buyer. She's responsible for buying all of the foods and goods and services that comes through Clayton County for the nutrition department. Ms. Kelly Wall, please come on out. We have our lead manager, Ms. Donna Russo. Please come on out. She supervises the managers at the school. And our second lead manager, Ms. Linda Smith. Please come on out. She supervises the managers at the school. We have other people in our central office department, but this basically is your school nutrition team responsible for your meals at school. Give them another hand. I see a hand up in the back if you can hold your questions. We will come back to those. Thank you. I'm sorry. We're trying to get the program moving along. We have a short 4-minute video that we'd like to show you to highlight what school nutrition has been up to and some of the things that are coming. So I'll get the video started. You can dim the lights for me, please. So that's what we've been up to. We have been going back and we have been revamping your menus. You're going to see more things to come. Today, you're going to get to sample some of those new things that we've changed. We also are going to ask you, once you sample, We're going to ask you to conduct a survey on the back. Tell us whether you like those items or not. Some of them are brand new, some of them we've enhanced, some of them you've never tried before, or we just taken those and we've modified them just a little. So with that said, I'm going to invite Ms. Dawkins to come back and talk with you. They're going to slightly modify the program, and then we'll come back and then we'll sample. So Ms. Dawkins.
And we won't stand in the way long between food and giving you more updates, but we thought it would be best to go ahead and have members, other members of our team to, yes ma'am? They're gonna come back. They're gonna do, yeah, we're just trying to roll things along so you can taste, because we got a window, a small window, and I promise you're gonna get an opportunity to entertain, pose your questions to. A comment for them? You'll still have an opportunity because they got survey cards for you as well. But before we do so, we would like for the other members of our team to come and give you some updates. And next we'll have Mr. Kenneth Thompson.
Yeah, and I just wanted to say, team, y'all are between them and their taste, their food. So we'll just keep it high level, keep it moving, so they can spend time really tasting the food, okay?
Good morning. My name is Kenneth Thompson. I'm an executive director over operations. I oversee nutrition, transportation, maintenance, construction, and transportation. The next two gentlemen I want to introduce to you, they head our maintenance and facilities group. And they're responsible for everything from school maintenance, your HVAC maintenance, your grounds work, also pest control. And they're just going to give you a brief update on what we're doing in that area of one of the concerns that you brought up in your last meeting, pest control. I'd like to introduce Mr. Sam Colber. He's the maintenance director, and his supervisor, Mr. Tim Cruz.
Good morning. Good morning. And I'm really not going to take up any of your time because I've tasted the food that you guys are anticipating tasting, and it is off the chart. So, but one of the things that Dr. Beasley asked that we speak to, you had some concerns during your last meeting about pest control. We have we contract out our pest control to a vendor. They do come out once a month to take care of our cafeterias and kitchens. A lot of this depends on us, depend on you. We work very closely with your principals, APs, your custodial staff, and we're asking the principal APs to work with you guys as well to keep a facility clean as everyone. When students, teachers, APs, principals, when your parents come to school, we're all involved in this. So I will say that we hear your concern. We have been working on your concerns since I've been here, the 7 years that I've been here. We will continue to work on your concerns. In your next advisory meeting, we're going to have the pest control company themselves. They're going to be here to answer any questions that you may have directly. In the meantime, we will continue to work with your custodial staff to make sure our facility stays as clean as possible. We also going to work with your principals, to make sure that we work on the human behavior, the things that we can control, the leaving doors propped open, the leaving food throughout the schools, especially over the weekend. It takes time once pests get in your house or into your schools, it takes some time to get them out. So it's not I can come in tonight and get rid of them for you. It takes a time, but there's a process in place that we address any of your concerns. We hear you, we're with you, because we want you to become doctors and lawyers, so we don't want you running out of our schools. So we do hear you, we are going to address them. So I have a very few minutes. If you had any questions, maybe I can answer anything specifically that you have concerns with.
Mr. Colbert, you may want to tell them why it's important for them not to prop the doors open. I don't think most people think about what happens when you prop the doors open.
This time of the year, especially this time of the year, it's getting cold. If we got our furry friend Mouse outside in the woods, he's looking for a warm place. He's looking for a place that has food and water source. And if you prop these doors open, while we're up here talking eye to eye, things are happening below us that we're just not paying attention to. So when the doors are propped open, these things are moving fast. I don't know if you ever seen one run, you know how fast these things move. And they will find the smallest of area. You're talking about the size of a dime. If he can get his nose through it, he can get his entire body through it. That's how fast these things are, and that's how those things move. And once they get inside, we all know that we have a lost and found in every school where you all lose y'all jackets, cost your parents lots of money. Once these things are in school, it takes a while to get out of them, get them out of the schools. They're used, let me tell you about the intellect of a mouse or a rat. Our scientists, before they put medication on us, they test medications against a mouse and a rat because of the intellect. Extremely smart. So it takes a while for us as humans to try to trap them and get rid of them. So our best thing that we can do, when you see a door open, close it. If you see our custodians propping doors open, our teachers propping doors open, close them. If you see a classmate, close them. Because once they're in, it's a process. We can get rid of them, and we do. It's just a process that it takes a while to get rid of them. Anything else?
Eating around the campus, eating different parts of the campus.
Yes, yes. How many have eaten in their classrooms, take their food from the cafeteria into the classroom? I know. Now for us, when we went to school, never heard of it, never considered it, never thought of that. This is something that we see now with your generation. It just blows us away. But as you're walking up to school and you're in our classrooms and you're dropping food throughout the hallway and your classmates track that food right behind you, you're in the classroom and you're dropping food in the classroom and the classmates track that food. And if you don't get it cleaned up, what comes to eat? Ants. How many of us have seen ants in our classroom? Absolutely. And other bugs as well. Absolutely. So we got to do, you and your classmates have got to do a better job of helping our custodians, helping our teachers maintain a clean facility. When you spill it, accidents will happen. It's okay that you spill it. We just got to be better at cleaning up behind ourselves. We've got to be better as a team, your entire school as a team, to keep the facility clean. Accidents will happen. We're not trying to point fingers, we're just saying when the accident do happen, turn to your classmate and say, hey, don't throw that on the floor, let's put that in the trash. The more they see you leaders doing that, the more they see our teachers and principals doing that, they will follow. They will follow. But I need you all to stay engaged. But if you want a clean facility, we have got to work on keeping a clean facility. You can't say, that's on the custodians, he'll get it. Because how many of us are in these big facilities, and how many custodians do we have in these schools? So it takes everybody. It takes everybody. Are we good? Any questions? Yes, sir. Come on, we're gonna do it this way. We're gonna walk up here, let you stand up, introduce yourself, and make a comment.
Hello, my name is Eric Hartnett, and the problem with food is that they have, in the cafeterias, they have all the custodians in one area, because there's a problem with there's not really enough custodians around the hallways on school at lunchtime, because they're either on break or they're worrying about the cafeteria. So whenever there's stuff on the ground, they can't pick it up because they're either on break or in the cafeteria.
Thank you, sir. I agree with that. That's one of the things that we are working with the administrators to make sure that those custodians that you do have allotted for your school, that they are being utilized in the best way possible. So that when you're out of your classroom and you're into the cafeteria, we're asking our custodians to be in your classroom cleaning while it's empty. So you're right, we don't want them standing around in the cafeteria. How many of us have gone to McDonald's? How many times have you been at McDonald's and any of the McDonald's workers have ever come out to your table and empty your tray? Most of the time, you empty your own tray, correct? You finish your food, you put your food in the trash, you put your tray up, and you leave McDonald's. That is what we need our students to do here in Clayton County. Get your food, sit at the table, eat. When you finish, clean up behind yourself, put your tray in the trash. But instead, we have a lot of our students, our custodians are serving in the cafeteria, and they're picking up the trays behind our kids as if it's a high-class restaurant. We're in a school cafeteria. So when our custodians should be in our classrooms, you're right, sir. They're standing in the cafeteria. But we're working on that. We're working on that. Anything else? Yes, ma'am. Hold on. Stand up. Introduce yourself.
My name is Faiz Kasim, and I'm in 5th grade. And this is a comment. Some people actually eat in class on purpose. Even if they're not hungry, they still eat in class. Like there was one time I saw one of my friends eating some candy after Halloween. And sometime last year I saw bugs and roaches and spiders on the walls. I wanted to know how we can fix that so no one can eat in the class anymore.
Thank you, ma'am. She was making a comment about kids eating in classrooms sometime intentionally. You're absolutely correct, and we are working with the administrators on trying to address that. It's a large facility. Most of our schools are large. When we have that type of food debris left throughout the entire facility, and once we get any type of pests in the school, it's hard to get rid of it. But we are working with your administrators to try to address that. Yes, ma'am.
I just would like for everyone, we know you have a lot of questions, and that's why you're here, to make sure that you are able to ask our leaders whatever questions that you may have in mind. But if you could hold to the end, because we have one more, our chief, with safety and security to present, and then we would like to go ahead and get you started with the tasting, because there's a lot of you here, and I'm sure, how many people want to try that great food out there? So in order for us to do that, if you would hold, just jot down your questions, and just remember that towards the end, when the superintendent comes back to the podium to address you, we do have a special time carved out for you to entertain all of your questions. But we gotta get these presenters so they can update you on what we've been doing, and then get that great food checked out, the lobby to see what Audrey and her team has really been up to, and then we'll come back to that portion.
And so I thank you for letting me come out and speak. I thank you for your questions. We're going to continue to address any concerns that you have. Dr. Beasley, thank you for inviting me.
Thank you, sir.
Yes. And next, Chief Treywick, this is Safety and Security.
Thank you. Well, good morning, everyone. Well, let me be quite honest. I'm going to tell on myself. When I walked in, I gravitated to that table too, and they said, "Halt! Don't dare go there." So I had to back off the table. I wanted to condemn the table so that I can get all the food and just take it myself. Okay, that was supposed to be a joke. Obviously, I'm not a comedian. But let me say this. Your safety and your security is extremely important to us. And I want you all to know that. You know, Mr. Koger was talking about partnerships, and that's what he was alluding to, that we all have to work together to keep the schools clean, to keep those rodents out, as well as the ants, the roaches, etc. And you know, also propping doors can be a security risk as well, because we never know a person's intention. And if they see a door propped open, what could they do? They can come in and harm you and just cause all kind of crazy things to occur at the school. So let's help each other. So when it comes to partnerships, I need you to help us with this safety and security thing as well. And let me tell you what I mean by that is I know the news makes it kind of hard in some of the issues that have occurred with some of the police officers. But I want you to know that's not how we are. We're here to be a resource. See, we're school resource officers with an emphasis placed on the R.
And we want you all to know that at any given time, you can come to us to let us know if you're having a problem. Irregardless to what that problem is, we want you to come to us because we want to help you get through those issues because, as Dr. Beasley says, and as we support, we're committed to high performance. So us working together, we can make sure our schools are safe. Now, we did one thing to really help out with that initiative. And I want you all to pick up one of these pamphlets on your way out after we sample that delicious food. Pick one up so that you can download the information onto your phones, especially you all in the middle schools and high schools. It's really important because there's a process that allows you to provide us feedback if you are being bullied, if you have some personal issues, if you're having an issue with a teacher and you want us to know about it, you can get that information not only to me, you can get it to your school resource officers and other folks in the police department so that we can turn around and mitigate that crisis really quick. So I want you all to look at the pamphlet, download it on your phone so that we can communicate and help you. And I also want you to participate, my elementary school students, how many do we have? Oh, outstanding. You know, we have safety patrol programs, the GREAT program, and other programs in your schools. So please, please participate and take advantage of those opportunities. So I guess we're going to do the questions and answers at the end. So I'm going to close here. Remember, we're a resource for you. Thank you.
Because we know we probably want to spend a little bit more time partaking in the food. Dr. Beasley had a great idea. Let's go ahead and pose questions that you may have since you've heard the presentations from members of our leadership team. We'll yield now. We have 2 microphones. The staff, myself, and a member of the team will come around to address any questions that you may have, and then we'll start to sample the food afterwards. Is that okay? Great deal. Yes, yes, this is an open forum to address any new concerns that you may have outside of the ones that you presented during the last meeting that we were able to provide updates today. So certainly feel free. And I think the young lady in the red blazer, you've had a few, and I'm coming to you.
So hello everybody, my name is April Bramble and I'm from Perry Career Academy. It's not really a question, it's more of a comment and it's not accommodation, but it's like a praise and something that I'm happy is happening. Oh, sorry. So I would say 2 weeks ago, Land O'Lakes came to my school for the Executive Directors Advisory Board and brought us into the cafeteria, and they presented us some new lunch options that have to do with like cheese and stuff like that. So there was like chicken, there was macaroni and cheese, there was pasta. It was really, really good. And that was just something to say thank you guys for allowing Perry Career Academy to have that happen at our school. Thank you.
Very good.
Okay, stand up, tell us your name, school, and your question.
Good morning, my name is Darlene Ijale and I'm from Edward Academy. And my question is that about safety. Talking of safety, in school students, they go to the bathroom and they fight against each other. How can we stop that?
Students fight in the bathroom, how can we stop it?
Well, the first thing we can do is report it to the teacher or the principal. That's number one. And then, of course, we'd like the principals to work with the teachers in the classrooms to ensure that those areas are monitored if there's an issue going on. And so we understand that, you know, student privacy is very important, but as administrators, we know how to walk into a restroom just to monitor, to make sure that only that which should be occurring in the restroom is occurring and nothing more or nothing less. And so always inform your teacher and inform your principals and allow them to work together to ensure that we're monitoring those restrooms, okay?
Your next question. And everyone, since I'm in the rear of the building, if you keep your hands raised, I'll make sure that I start here since I'm in this area and now migrate down.
Hi, my name is Taylor Moore and I'm from Lake Ridge Elementary. And one thing is I'm really keen on like everybody who has the opportunity to get an education, I want them to be able to have that opportunity. So one thing I noticed in the classrooms are at my school we do have a pretty good relationship between the students and the teachers, but that's only certain students. Now, during instructional time, or say a student's just having a bad day or something happens, and the teachers just aren't very tolerant at all, and they're just like, okay, get out my classroom. And then later on, like the next month or so, they'll say like, I give you all of these opportunities and I give you the resources, so it's your fault that you're failing. When they're outside most of the time, because I don't feel like they don't resolve their issues. So I think that maybe if we could have a meeting or something between the teachers and the students just to figure out what's going on and how we can get a method for teaching works for everyone.
Have you had that conversation? Have you had that conversation with your principal?
I haven't gotten to talk to the principal yet, but I have talked to some of the teachers, and saying, well, we don't have time for that, or we need to get this stuff in before Georgia milestone or stuff like that.
I would always encourage you to always have a conversation about that type of conversation with your principal, or that type of activity with your principal. The principal would be the one who would have to carve out time in the schedule to make that a reality, okay? So it's good to share that with the teachers, of course, and those who can probably will, but I think it would be important as a student leader that you share that with your school principal, okay?
Hello, I'm Melania Daniels from Lovejoy High School, and I understand that the whole situation with the pests are being controlled and handled, but as far as Lovejoy High School and the rodent problem, is there anything being specifically done for Lovejoy right now?
Okay, let's see. Mr. Cover's going on, or you want to respond?
Yeah, we're aware of the situation there, and we have Cannon Pest Control Company, which is our vendor. They're over there monthly, so they're trying to assess whether it's a situation where the doors are open, and like Mr. Culver indicated, you know, once these rodents kind of invade a territory, it's hard to get them out. One of the things we have to balance is the use of chemicals in the presence of our students and the food. So it's a balancing act, but we have somebody out there every month addressing that. And what we're going to do in January, in your next meeting, is have that actual company come out and speak to the students. But
okay.
we are specifically addressing your area.
Okay, thank you.
Good morning. My name is Chioma Janama. I'm from Lovejoy High School. My issue with Lovejoy is bullying. Many people may not think it's happening, but I feel like the culture at the school, many people may say it as jokes, but it really hurts somebody. And recently we had an issue where a video of our school went viral of two girls bullying this little kid. And the principal, he didn't address the video as the students would have wanted it, and many people thought that way. He didn't address bullying, which we feel like is a really problem. Kids are killing themselves at Lovejoy over this situation, and it's not being addressed.
Okay, very good. Did you share, as a student leader, did you share that concern with your principal? I want her to answer the question.
We spoke to the principal about...
Did you share that concern with the principal, specifically, like you just shared in this forum?
Not specifically, no.
Okay, and this is instructional as well. Before you ever say something about your school in a setting like this, always give the principal an opportunity to address it, okay? And that's just, as a high school principal, I think it's important that you give them a chance, because you said he addressed it, but there was something specifically you thought could have been addressed. And maybe he didn't think about that, and your conversation with him may have helped the situation, and he could have addressed that. So I just want to, you can share in this forum, don't get me wrong, but I think it's always important. That's, the purpose of this is to help us make a difference, right? You've got to give your principals a chance to hear your concerns and respond to those concerns. So I want you, my assignment to you is to go back. I have made a note, but I want you to go back and to have that very intentional conversation with Mr. Render, your principal, okay?
Okay, thank you.
And I want Chief to also respond to the bullying, because that continues to come up pretty consistently. And Chief, if you would, speak to the tip line and what we're doing as a district with this online bullying I know has occurred this year. Some of it clearly can be prevented, but some of it occurs even when students are not involved or they've not done anything to encourage people to post things about them. So speak to that so we can give our young people some strategies.
You know, I'm really pleased that you mentioned the bullying and the fact that you're from Lovejoy. As a matter of fact, we're working on some public service announcements with your SGA, specifically at Lovejoy, to address this, because we understand that it's just running throughout all of our high schools, and not just in Clayton. I don't want you all to think that this is something that's just occurring here. This cyberbullying and in-person bullying and posting and Snapchatting and all of that, putting that information out, is just really causing some devastating consequences. And that was why we created the tip line. We wanted to give you a resource so that you can contact us so that we could deal with that particular situation at that particular time. And that's why we also want to deploy conflict resolution and peer mediation processes, because here's the challenge. The challenge is us not speaking up, us not communicating, and us not providing that information, letting people know that we're not going to stand for it. And that's what we have to do. We have to partner with one another, let these individuals know that we won't take it anymore, because statistically speaking, normally a bully is a person who has been bullied or they're in a household where that's going on. So what we want to do is we want to get to the root problem of it so that we can stop it. And we can only do that by knowing that it's going on, dealing with the situation, and also letting them know the negative consequences associated with bullying, how it can impact the victim by suicide attempts and harming themselves, and the criminal part of it if you assault or cause that to happen to another person. So please, use the tip line, let us know what's going on, get with your SROs, let them know what's going on, and like Dr. Beasley said, by all means, notify a principal, a teacher, or someone so that we can intervene and stop it from occurring. Do you all promise me that you'll do that? Yes. All right, thank you.
That's important. You know, a lot of things that we deal with in society, you all heard recently the mass shootings, and sometimes if people would just open their mouths and say something, you would be amazed at what can be prevented, what could have been prevented. And so I know sometimes you don't want to know, you want to be anonymous, but the tip line allows you to be anonymous as well. And so you've got to share. That's how we make it better over time. We've got to be able to share and speak up and report things when we see them. It may not be occurring to you. You may see someone bullying someone else. You are well within your right to use that tip line to report that situation, and then allow the SRO to work with the school administration to address that matter. But we need you as students to report and to inform us so we can act upon it, okay? Jada?
My name is Amir Hare, and I'm from Edmonds Elementary, and I have a question. We have lots of absent students and students that move away at our school. Will online learning programs be available for Clayton County students in the near future?
Oh, you said online learning?
Yes.
Did I hear that? Okay. So that's a good point. So you have a lot of mobility, which is the case here in Clayton County for whatever reason. We're one of the more transient communities in the metro area in the state of Georgia. But we are in the process of purchasing online reading and math tool that students will be able to get plugged into that will be able to assist them to address whatever deficits or gaps they have in reading and or math. Relative to taking online courses, we have our Odyssey-ware that we're using at the high school level, and we also have access, you have access to Georgia Virtual. We're looking at expanding online access to include some of the younger grade levels, but we're planning that out. We're planning that out. Our goal is to have at least an option where those who want to just do online instruction 3 through 12, they can do online from grades 3 on through 12. That's one of the ideas that we have that we are working to implement. It won't necessarily happen this year because we've got to ensure that some structures are in place, but one of our goals is to, at some point in the very near future, is to provide an opportunity for parents and students who want to get their education virtually, totally online, somewhat blended, because we'll require some face-to-face instruction so many hours a week, but they will be able to participate in the near future in an online instructional experience if that's what they choose to do. Okay, thank you. Good question.
My name is Courtney Black from Evans Elementary. Henry County and DeKalb County have given their students laptops to take home. Will we get laptops too? Will we get laptops soon too?
That's a good question. Did they give everybody a laptop in DeKalb and Henry? Everybody? Everybody? Okay. So, in order to do that, I've asked the technology team to look at different ways of doing that. We would have to, of course, funding is important, so we would have to have funding, and then we have to sustain that as well because students will drop laptops and they'll have to be replaced, etc. So our current SPLOS did not allow us to do that, but we're looking at it possibly in the next SPLOS. Right now, my goal is to show teachers how to actually use the technology to enhance the instruction. And if that means using more laptops, and many schools are purchasing additional laptops using their Title I funds, if that also means showing students how they can use their iDevices, if they have iDevices, to learn. And so we're working to address that in several ways. I can tell you that the issue we have right now with laptops is the funding. But again, as we go into SPLOS 6, which is our special purpose local option sales tax, which starts in the year 2020, we are investigating some options for issuance of students some type of devices. Don't know if there'll be laptops, but technology is changing at an accelerated rate, so we're trying to see exactly what we can do, what we can afford, and what we can sustain. And so more to come in that area.
Hi, I'm Dakota Potts, and I'm from Sweat Elementary, and my comment or question or concern is that school lunch has gotten better. Like since when I was at Flint in kindergarten, it was not the best school lunch, but over the transition of when I've gotten older, school lunch has gotten better. Even the people at my school who are over the cafeteria, her name is Miss Drakeford, she'll come to me and she'll be like, oh, how do you feel like fried chicken on this day or on that day? and then I'll be like, nah, because we have a test that day and we need nutrition. And she'll be like, okay, then she'll change it. But school lunch has been gotten better. We have tried the diversity seasoning. Everybody choose the French fry seasoning, and I just want to give shout outs to them guys for making it.
Very good. Good job.
My name is Michelle Bauer, and I'm from E.J. Swint Elementary School. And I have a question, and my question is, how come we have teachers we have 3 groups, the middle group, the high group, and the low group. And when the teachers say, oh, you're in the low group, it makes people sad. Can you tell me how we could fix that and say, all right, don't actually say that they're in the low group, just put it in a different way?
Thank you. What school?
EJ Swint.
We'll work on that. Thank you for sharing. I wonder what would happen if I put all the employees in 3 groups like that. How would that make us feel, employees? Employees, raise your hand. Raise your hand. Let your hand remain up if you would like me to group all employees like that. No. Wow.
Good morning, my name is Ida Ball. I go to Point South Elementary and I'm in 5th grade. My concern is the bathrooms. Like, the custodians are doing a really good job as far as cleaning our bathrooms, but we don't have that much tissue, and the soap, they're always running out of soap and they don't put it in there when we need it the most. So the teachers have to provide us with hand sanitizer and a roll of tissue. But it's not just the custodians that make it look non-presentable, it's the students too, because they write inappropriate words on the walls of the bathrooms, and that's just, you know, it makes it look dirty.
Thank you for sharing that. Any comments on tissue and soap, supplies? And you all know, I can tell you as a former principal, sometimes you have to balance that. I have seen custodians put tissue in restrooms, and an hour later, someone took the roll. Wonder, what did they do with the roll? Take it home? And so that's why it's important that we have to work together, because the custodians can do their part, but students have to do their part, and the administration has to do its part.
And that responsibility, and I'm glad you recognize that. What my department does, the maintenance department, we supply those items to the schools on the request of the custodians and the administrators. So we just have to ensure that the administrators and the appropriate party at the school is reporting that those supplies are low, and we'll surely get that information out. So we'll look at that school and find out what's going on in that area. All right? Okay, thanks.
Hello, my name is Eric Hartnett and I'm here representing Arnold Elementary. The last time I came here, we were in classrooms, but this month, for the rest of the year, 4th and 5th grade is going to have to work in modulars, and the AC barely works. So the teachers open the door so there will be fresh air to come in to circulate through the modulars. My concern is where there's a forest where, well, not really a forest, it's just a patch of trees where people they're able to enter through and walk past the enter through and go to the playgrounds and go through and go past. So my problem is with that is that there's no fencing to keep trespassers away from the modulars, and especially since there's doors open, there's a whole lot of crazy people in Clayton County now, so you say
superintendent included, huh?
I mean, sure, but so if a crazy person is armed and sees like a door open, and they could come in and harm the students in that modular.
Thanks for sharing that. And since you're Arnold, I know we have some construction going on over there. Mr. Thompson and Safety and Security, they'll take a visit over there to see what we can do to ensure it's a safe environment. But thanks for bringing that to our attention as well. Very good.
Good morning, Dr. Bisley.
Good morning.
My name is Amir Lawrence, representing Morrow Elementary, where success is #1 priority. One thing that is good about my school is that my principal is very fair. She gives us chances to participate in extracurricular activities such as Pals Patrol, mileage, news, reading bowl, etc. This will make the children more prosperous with being in class, not just physically but mentally.
Very good. Extracurricular activities, very important to have them.
Hello, my name is Jordan Miller and I'm representing Marl Elementary School. One thing I would like to address is that our school provides us with school lunches. Well, our school provides us with snacks bags throughout the day. So while we're doing work, we get snack bags to fill us up with more energy. And I have one concern is that when we're in the lunchroom, the noise control gets high from time to time, and it makes it harder to whisper to the person beside you.
Very good. So since that's unique, that noise control is unique to your school, you should have that conversation with your principal and administrators so they can work on that noise control.
My name is Noah Banks and I'm representing Hawthorne Elementary. In the lunchroom, some classes get into food fights, and I just want to know, can you consider as student helpers when there's trash on the floor after school and they help clean up?
Sounds like we need to have a conversation with our principal as well about putting our food fighters to work a little bit, right? Very good.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Janisha Cambridge, and I'm representing Wendy's Mill High. I just wanted to say that a couple students, including myself, have had the opportunity to participate in making a public service announcement talking about the new SAT school day. And I just think that it's a wonderful program because now students don't have to wait until a Saturday to take it, and you can take it in your homeroom, in your biology class, wherever you feel comfortable. And I think that that'll raise our graduation rates, and as well as how many students go to college and get accepted. So I think that's great.
Very good. I'm glad to see you participating in that. Excellent. Excellent. And it's good for the students to be the face of that because students are the ones being impacted by that. So I'm glad to hear it. Can't wait to see it. I hadn't seen it yet, so are we almost finished with it? All right.
Hi, good morning. My name is Madeline Stevens, representing Huey Elementary. And one of my concerns is most kids be using cursing or profanity, and I want to know one way we can stop it.
So I didn't hear the last part.
Most kids are cursing and using profanity. How can we stop it?
Which answer do you want? They cursing and using profanities because some adult has shown them how to do it. That's the bottom line. And you said, how can we stop it? I think from peer to peer, you can encourage your peers to choose better words. I think that's an appropriate strategy. But I don't think that it's your responsibility. I think what we have to do is address that with the administration and then implement some high expectations. I am a little concerned about this generation because even when you all look at television from your elected officials on down, everybody's cursing. And so I don't know if you all even know the difference. I don't even know if you all know that that's just improper and is not appropriate because you all see it at every level. And so I think we as adults have a responsibility from the superintendent all the way up to the White House. We have a responsibility to be mindful of our words, even responding recently, calling people short and fat. All of that is so inappropriate. And we as adults need to model the right behavior for our children. And so work with your principal so that can be addressed at the school level if you see that occurring. But I think what we can do, as all of us can do going forward, is choose better vocabulary words. You can say things that will convey how you feel without using a profane word. It may require you to think. You may have to Google a word. But it's possible. It's possible.
My name is Eddie Porter, and I am from Huey Elementary School. My question is, how do the pest control eliminate the pests and roaches in schools?
I guess I'd have to ask the pest control to answer that question. But I did hear earlier that there's a balance between chemicals and consistent visits that they have to make to the campus. But they'll be here the next time we come back, so they'll be better informed to answer that question. I would imagine it's easier depending on how much the school has rodents or bugs. but I can't really answer that question. And I think they'll be here next time, okay? So you hold that one, okay?
Good morning.
Morning.
My question is, will we ever get, I'm Morgan Griffin from River's Edge. Will we ever get security cameras or doors for our school?
Will you ever get security cameras? Did I hear that?
Yes.
There are security cameras in all schools, right? Not in elementary schools. So no, but there are secure doorways, so you have to buzz into the front office, buzz into the school. And so that's a good question, and I guess I need to take that back to staff. I didn't realize until today that elementary schools didn't have security cameras. It seems to me on most schools that we're building, security systems are part of the infrastructure. And so maybe as we're building going forward, that's something that we need to be mindful of. Thanks for bringing that to the awareness of the superintendent.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Mariah Cherry and I'm representing Kilpatrick Elementary School. My question is it possible to remodel the school? Because we have problems with ceilings, bathrooms, and the cafeteria. Like the ceiling breaks and stuff falls from it. And the bathroom floods. And the cafeteria has many bugs.
What school is this? Clearly, we have schools that are on the list for being remodeled or renovations, and I don't know if your school is one of those schools, but we have a process that we go through to determine which schools are at the top of the list each time, from year to year, from SPLOS to SPLOS, and so we'll just have to go back and look at that, okay?
All right, good morning. My name is Courtney Flowers, and I'm a representative from Mark Ellen Stillwell School of the Arts. And one thing that I appreciate that I have noticed this year is that with the senior class, with our fine arts diploma, we have received information ahead of time after watching the previous years from last year struggle to get their information and their portfolio together last minute. So I appreciate the fact that we have been giving the necessary tools that we need to go ahead of time. And a comment that I have would be for the international skills diploma. Who do we go to for community service hours within our community? Because it's hard to get actual hours.
That's a good question. We probably, yeah, see Jada, that we'll try to get that information. I'm thinking we may need to connect her to Dr. Chillis, or Dr. Chillis could help us navigate that situation.
My name is Raven Pittman, and I'm from Martin Luther King Jr. Elementary School. And recently, our playground has burned out, and we want to know how we could get a new one.
Very good. Someone, yesterday it was, recently was yesterday. Or was it yesterday on the news, right? Saturday. One of those days. Was it Saturday? Saturday. Someone decided to cut the mulch on fire, set the mulch, the playground on fire. So we met this morning, and so we're working to expedite an emergency repair to get your playground back up to speed. So hopefully within the next few weeks we'll get the board's approval, and within a few weeks after that we'll get it all fixed up, okay?
Good morning, my name is Tyre Magaha, and I'm coming from Thurgood Marshall Elementary. And one question I have is that how can we get more clubs in the school to get more people like involved and have more opportunities for just things to do in the school?
I would always say to start with your principal. Some schools have a lot of clubs and some don't seem to have as many. And so it would be the principal working with the teachers and the parents in order to implement and expand access to clubs. So let's make sure you start with your principal, okay?
My name is Sanaya Largent, and I'm coming from Lee Street Elementary. And one of my concerns is that the students, they expect the teachers to give them a lot of respect, which the teachers should, but they can't do that if the students are disrespecting them, cursing at them, and doing all the things they shouldn't be doing to the teachers. And I just want to know how can we prevent that from happening?
I think it's important, and that's why we're getting the students involved in these public service announcements. I think while we as adults and the principals should be working diligently to address that, to hold students to high expectations, I think changing the culture is so important. Creating a culture in our school system, in our community, where everyone understands that we're going to have respectful relationships and interactions between adults and students, students and adults. And so we'll work, in my role as superintendent, I'll continue to work with school leadership, assistant superintendents, and principals to make sure that that expectation is not only communicated, but actions are very consistent with that expectation. It doesn't happen overnight. We're seeing an improvement, but clearly there's more work to do. But we also need the help of our parents too. Parents are so important to ensuring that students behave appropriately. Not only do parents have to model the right behavior, but parents have to also visit the school, talk to the teacher, hear what the teacher, the principals are saying, and respond appropriately with their child. That's important as well. But again, that's our role as administrators and teachers and educators, to work with parents to that end. And so again, we're seeing an improvement, but I can tell you we still got some work to do in that area, okay?
Hi, I'm Mrs. Wilder from Northcote Elementary, and in the last meeting you stated that you couldn't tell us that we couldn't have a specific club as long as it's teacher sponsored. And in doing so, they don't have any clubs for 5th graders. They have one for 4th and 5th graders, but they want to start a student council and a yearbook club. But the dilemma we're running into is funding. And they presented several ideas, but presenting this to the principal, the answer isn't no yet, and then it gets rushed under the rug. So we don't know what we need to do at this point to move forward with even just a simple yearbook club.
Yeah, you need to get your parents involved, because no funding's coming from central office. You need to get your parents involved, and as I had to do and my students had to do, when it comes to yearbooks, if that's something you want, you got to get parents involved, and sometimes you got to pull your students, and you got to do fundraisers, right? And that takes a little work, but anything worth having is worth what? Working for, okay?
Good morning. My name is Latasha Harris, and I'm the senior class president at Morrow High School. And the issue that I would like to address today is the start and end times of our school, and the fact that middle school and high school times switched, but high schoolers have way more classes than middle schools have. Therefore, we have more homework. And also, we have an abundance of after-school activities, whether it may be taking 8th period after school, which may end at 6 o'clock, or extracurricular sports, and we may not get out of practice until 8 o'clock. So that means we go home and we shower and clean up, may not eat dinner until 10 o'clock, and then there's really no time for homework. But then we have students who actually try to stay up and do homework, and we don't get done until like maybe after 2 a.m. in the morning, and we have to be right back up for school. And also, like, in addition to practice and 8th period, when we have our games, GHSA requires for games to start at a certain time. And in Clayton County, since we get out of school later, and the other schools that we may be playing, they get out earlier, and we would miss like 6th and 7th period so that we can meet the required times to start those games at the high school level.
That's a complicated issue because, you know, I wish I could just change the school start times today, but if I do that, then I impact the bus routes, right? I impact the concerns of parents who need the children to go to daycares and they need certain children to be at home in order to pick the other children up. Right. So that's just a big issue. And my philosophy is sometimes a quick solution really just aggravates the problem. And that really needs, that has such a systemic impact. And the answer that I will propose to your question today is, that has come up several times, but we've chosen not to address it because it has so many implications and that there's no perfect solution. And no matter what we do, and I've looked at several models, I will still have to deal with transportation issues because I don't have enough bus drivers to pick up everybody at the same time. We're already dealing with a shortage of bus drivers, which means that either we don't pay enough or the amount we're paying people are not willing to work. We have some buses, I believe, but we have still a shortage of bus drivers. And so we have to stagger the times because we can't pick up everybody at the same time. And I think there's philosophically, you know, some people want the smaller children to start earlier so they can get out earlier, which is also a challenge. And so it's just a lot of domino effect. And so I think the community is used to this current arrangement, even though it is not perfect. It's only been the last 2 years. It's going to probably be the next 2 years because it requires so many other variables to be changed. Okay. And so we'll continue to look at that because it's come up. Maybe this is probably the third time it's come up. But we always go back to the bus situation, the start and end times, the amount of time in the day, parents' concerns relative to the older kids picking up the smaller kids or vice versa, that kind of thing. And so we've just not really, I've not seen any perfect solutions as of yet. I've seen pros and cons either way, but no matter what we do, if we go back to the way it was done, the reason it was changed because somebody had an issue with that way too, right? And so it's like, okay. Yeah.
And I would also like to answer an issue that other students may have at other schools as far as community service goes. If you feel like your school doesn't offer a lot of opportunities, there's plenty of resources online. A resource that we use at my school is called Hands On Atlanta, and it's a website where you can go, and if you want more opportunities in your community in Clayton County, you can actually put in like your location and the zip code, and they'll give you opportunities around you that you'll be able to do.
That's a good idea.
And opportunities that your age level offers, and you can do it at your age level.
Hands On Atlanta. Very good. Thanks for sharing that. Excellent.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I just want to add to what she just said, that our students should remember that the same teachers or employees that are receiving those kids do have kids too. So when we change times, it affects who is receiving and who is dropping off.
And that's why I try to share. It's a complex situation, and you have to be mindful of all those variables.
My name is Austin Studstill from Roberta T. Smith Elementary, and I wanted to say that a lot of times when I'm in Campus Kids and everybody's done with their homework, we get the incentive of going outside. But a lot of times we cannot go outside or our playground because older kids from other middle schools or high schools come and they just go ahead and wreck the whole place, and we're not allowed to go out there just in case that they use any kind of language that we're not able to hear. And also a lot of adults think that our playground is a public playground for everybody. So a lot of younger kids come and we cannot play certain sports such as football that we like to play a lot of times.
Very good. What school?
Roberta T. Smith.
Chief, you'll check on that with the principal as well. Because I'm concerned that people are using the playground, preventing the students who are at the school from using the playground.
And you have a CSO too, don't you have a, okay, just get with your CSO and let your CSO know, and they'll get those people pushed off that playground because that they should be in school anyway. So we need to know that.
Okay. It's after school, but still, it's after school, but there's still expectations. All right, Clayton, where are you?
My name is Jeremy Stevens, and I'm from BC Haney Elementary. Friday, we had an issue where there were these two students who got into a fight, and then it ended. But the thing was, it started back, and a kid found a shovel on the ground, and he picked up the shovel, and then he tried to hurt the other kid with it.
Okay.
My name is Ariana Sharp from Fountain Elementary, and sometimes things happen, and that students do, and the teachers it's over with, and the teachers just go on and on and on about it, and sometimes if it's me that's in the situation, I really don't like people talking about it, if it ended. So is there anything that could fix that teachers could stop?
I would say, everybody has their own way. Students, adults are adults, and I would say you can share that conversation with the teacher and your principal, but young people, you all have to understand everybody's different now. And while you may be ready to move on, somebody else may be ready to keep talking about it. And so you've got to understand that everybody's in different places in life, but work with the teacher and your principal, and hopefully even that will improve if it needs to improve. But we're not trying to control and dictate every interaction between adults and students. But I think your point is made, but you need to work with your principal and teachers in that regard. There's no rule that's going to come from the superintendent that says you can't talk about this. That's just impractical or not even feasible.
My name is Mason John Lee from MD Roberts, and so at my school we just got vending machines, and even if you don't like the food or if it's nasty or something, you can eat from the vending machine instead. That's what I usually do. So that's good.
Okay, you just like vending machines. Very good.
Hi, my name is Jasmine Montez, and I'm from MD Roberts. And I have a problem because during dismissal for car riders, before you would stay in the commons, and then when they called your number or your name, you'd go out and your car would come and you'd get in. But now they kick you out of the commons outside, and especially now that it's cold, students are getting sick and they can't come to school and learn because they're making us be out there. And many students have gone to tell the principals, and they're just like, oh, it's easier. Yeah, well, even if it's easier for you, it's not convenient for the students. And even they don't let it, it's a big strip, right? And they won't let us spread out. They'll use whistles and megaphones, and they'll yell, go, go, and they'll push you into one little corner, and maybe you'll run into someone else, and they'll think you're trying to start something, and that's how fights break out. And I just think it's inconvenient because it's just not.
Have you had a conversation with your principal, Ms. Stevens?
No, but I've had a conversation with one of our counselors from 7th grade. But like I said, they just say oh, it's more convenient for us, but students are getting sick and fights are happening, and it's dangerous because you can get accidentally knocked out into the road and get hit by one of the cars that are going to pick up their children.
So I want you to have a conversation with your principal, and I've made a note to also escalate the concern to the principal.
My name is Ryan Pacheco from Elite Scholars Academy. I have a concern about the safety of our students because there has been a shooting, Banneker, where 3 students have been shot, and because the student has brought in a weapon and there haven't been really metal detectors to detect, so I was wondering if probably schools around can establish metal detectors to help prevent the problem?
You know, that's one of those simple solutions to a very complex problem. And we've discussed metal detectors, and I'm not, as a superintendent, I'm not convinced that metal detectors are the solution. Because kids even know how to get weapons around metal detectors. And so, again, it's a complex issue. We live in American society, it's a very gun culture, and our goal is to reduce and eliminate the number of guns and weapons that are in our schools. That's why we're trying to do the PSAs, the public service announcements. We're working with safety and security. We're doing random checks. Even if you do metal detectors, this is where I have my little mind doesn't allow me to get beyond. You do metal detectors, let's say from 8 in the morning to 4. When no one's manning the metal detectors, what do? And so I don't see that as a solution. I see the solution being all of us need to take responsibility for safety. We need to create cultures and environments on our campuses where everyone understands we all have a responsibility to see, if we see something, to say something. Because all it takes is one person who has a bad intention to cause someone not to go home at the end of the day. And so while metal detectors is an idea that we've discussed and will continue to discuss, we also know that we're dealing with something that, issues that go well beyond the solution of metal detectors. And that's why we have these conversations. So all of us, and we need you talking to your peers and the public service announcements that your peers are creating right now to help create that environment and that culture where all of us take responsibility for creating a safe, secure environment. If you have some other ideas, please share it with Chief and we'll discuss them.
My name is David Inezi, and I'm from West Clayton Elementary School. And my question is, are the chemicals in the pest control spray affecting the food that we eat?
The chemicals in the pest control spray affecting the food?
No, I would imagine it is not. But that's part of what I heard him say is their challenge is while we're applying the pest control measures, we've got to be mindful of the food and the safety of children and adults on the campus. And so our strategies have to balance all that out, which may mean it takes a little longer to get rid of some of the pests that may be on the campus. But no food issues that we're aware of. Okay.
My name is Michelle Akiwande, and I'm from Trextree Elementary School. And I would like to address that some parents come to school wearing inappropriate things, and so I wanted to...
Y'all get on tape.
I wanted to know how can we address the parents, because sometimes they wouldn't like to stay and listen to you because they feel like it's their option to choose what they wear wherever they go.
We appreciate that observation from the mouths of babes. But sometimes they do, and so that's why we just deal with it as we have to deal with it. Okay?
Hi, my name is Anthony Reyes, and I'm from Unidos Dual Language School. I have a question regarding pest control. And I've been in an occasion where supposedly they get rid of all the pests, but sometimes they lay eggs, and when the eggs hatch, more pests come out, and then they have to recall the pest control.
And we'll let the pest control people speak to that and how they deal with that, because that is cycle of life, and so we'll just have to figure out how they get around that.
My name is Fayez Kassim, and I'm representing Brown Elementary, James H. Clayton County Public Schools. And my concern is how to fix bus behavior. People bully, curse, and fight on the bus. This is important because the bus driver can get distracted and crash.
So I'm asking how to fix these problems.
How to fix bus behavior. Peers, report. Everybody say report. And then we have to let the administration and teachers and counselors and all work with parents to address that. Again, we're seeing an improvement. It's not where we'd like it to be, but we do have bus monitors, not on every bus, but on some buses, and I believe they're mobilizing the bus monitors when we identify some hot spots, areas where we think we need to modify some behaviors on the bus, okay? But if you could let us know the bus number at least, you can also use your app to let us know if there's issues on a bus. Submit it on the app if you have an app, or your parents can, and tell us what bus number it is. And we'll do our due diligence to address that.
Good morning, my name is Erin Olai, and I'm from Munnies Mill Middle School. And we have a problem in our bathrooms with the overflowing of sinks because students tend to leave the sinks running. But we have one faucet in the girls' bathroom on 7th grade hallway that has a faucet where after 30 seconds the water turns off. And I was wondering if you could put that in all our bathrooms to prevent overflowing of sinks.
Okay. What school did you say?
Munnies Mill Middle.
Munnies Mill Middle, he has that. Thank you for sharing.
Hi, my name is Anissa Brown and I'm from Lovejoy Middle School. And I do have a concern as far as transportation. So some of the kids, they have to walk home from school if they live closer. And people just assume that nothing can happen to them because they live close to the school. But that's not always the case. So I'm wondering if some of us, if like we can get some transportation to get us home.
That's a good question. Of course, we have to balance that with what the rule is. You live within a certain distance, you have to walk, etc. Transportation costs, safety. So what I would say is, what school is that again? Lovejoy High School, Middle School. Lovejoy Middle School. Mr. Thompson will take that back and discuss it with Transportation Department. But just remember, you know, whatever I provide to one, I probably have to provide to what? And that's creates a situation. And so, you know, I'll give you the Dr. Beasley answer. We want you to be safe. Let your principals know if there are any unsafe situations occurring that would impact you all walking to school. Sometimes things may happen and we don't know about it. But let us know so we may have to mobilize and send some resource officers to kind of look at the pathways, the roadways, wherever you're walking, so we can ensure that you all are safe, okay? And so, while I don't know if we'll get a solution, a bus solution for you, we can do our due diligence ensuring that those areas that you're walking in are safe. And we'll work with the county police department and the police department, Lovejoy, and others to that end, okay? Thank you for sharing that.
Hi, I'm Katherine Jackson, and I'm from Riverdale High School. I have two things I'd like to discuss. I'd like to say thank you for coming to our ribbon cutting ceremony for opening up our new gym. And on behalf of the student government, we'd like to invite you to our Black History program. It's a big thing at our school and we really enjoy it, so we'd like to ask you to come. And my second thing is, a lot of the seniors are asking about scholarships and college applications. Sometimes we get counselors involved in our scholarships, but not many students know how to get scholarships offline because there's so many and there's so many websites, and we like a way to, like, a direction or someone to point us at specific scholarships for specific people who need them. And because it's my senior year and I want all the free money I can get.
That would be important. Have you seen our website? Have you gone to our scholarship website?
Yes, and
okay.
I use it, but not many students know about it.
Right.
That's the problem.
Right, and so whatever we can do to get the word out there, and we've sent out releases to everybody's emails, and so I'll make a note to see if we can, students are checking their emails, you think? Tell the truth.
No.
No. I don't know what else y'all, I can't knock on everybody's house door and do it. So I need young people to at least, if they have email, I need them to at least check the email. so they can get the information. So we got the information there, but clearly we've got to get the word out, don't we?
Yes.
So let's figure out how to do that, okay?
All right, on the behalf of the Black History Program, would you be joining us?
Send me an invite, and if I can, you know I will. Date and time is important to know.
Back to you, Dr. Beasley.
All right, very good, very good. And so, we're ready to end this portion of the program. Thank you all, let's give yourselves a hand. And as our practice, we'll take the concerns that you have identified here that I've written down, and we'll debrief with our team, and we'll mobilize and see what we need to do to address those concerns, and at our next meeting, we'll come with an update. So right now, Ms. Hamilton, are you coming to give us directions?
Yes, I am.
As to how we're going to do this food tasting?
Yes, sir, I am.
Now, everybody can't taste at the same time, can they?
No, but we do have 2 lines, so
Okay.
I want to just give you some quick instructions.
Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Beasley. Thank you so much for inviting us.